Hello, welcome back to What's in Your Leadership Backpack. Conrad and Shannon here to unpack and repack something for your leadership backpack.
And I don't think we've ever really talked about this here in this space with all of you. So what we want to do is just give you a really high level understanding of the framework that we use when it comes to leadership. And this framework is based on the work of the Coactive Training Institute. It's something that we learned in our Coactive leadership program. And it really starts with this notion that leadership and leaders are all about being in service of something other than themselves. That thing can be different. It's different for all of us. It can be different. It's context specific, right? And it's also timing specific or event specific.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that it can be around a meeting that you're having, or it can be about a project that you're working on, or a change you want to see in the world. So the magnitude can be different, the impact can be different. The key is that you're always oriented to this purpose, this stake, this intention as you move into a leadership context.
Right.
With that orientation being clear, there are two things that leaders do. One,
So one thing, and this is the thing that we are really used to doing as leaders, it's the thing that in our social context, we're constantly shown that this is what it means to be a good leader, is act. Sounds very simple, right? But that is one thing that leaders do. They act. And the second thing is
stay. So we know, as Shannon said, acting, like getting stuff done, speaking, doing, moving a meeting forward, moving a project, all act oriented. The piece that we want to focus in for today in this bigger context of how we hold leadership, the coactive leadership model and map, is stay. So Shannon, when you hear stay, what's that like for you, that part?
Well, I remember the first time I heard stay. Okay. So we have to always remember that we're being oriented to whatever it is that we're in service of. That's the orientation for leadership. The first time I heard stay, it made me think that do nothing. So you either are doing something or you're doing nothing. That is not what we mean by stay, right? Stay is meaning that you're still in your leadership role, which means you're still in service of something, but you are not necessarily acting. You're more or less being, holding, waiting, listening, which many of the leaders that we work with are constantly doing, right?
Yeah.
So
Sensing, yeah, just some other words too, like sensing, being curious, looking at a different perspective, a bigger view, a more nuanced view. So stay is, we orient to this as like staying in relationship, even when things are uncomfortable or get tough. Staying focused on what the bigger picture is, even when things aren't going so well. So that's another way to hold that, is like we stay for the sake of what we're up to, period.
yeah. Staying when you don't know the answer. Right.
Ooh, tough one over here. He's like, oh, I got to get it right. I got to staying present is what you're speaking to too, Shannon, is like, oh, well, I don't know the answer to that. Here's what I do know, maybe to move into an act. Yeah, I love that your point. Staying with discomfort even, or staying with something that's like new or different or even scary.
Yeah. We see this a lot with skilled leaders who are coming into a new work environment, a new team environment, a new challenge that they might be stepping into. Oftentimes, their team or their organization is expecting them to come in and like act, right? Like come right out of the gate. And skilled leaders do the opposite of that. They actually stay. I mean, the opposite is to not act, right? It feels like they're doing the opposite of not acting.
Right.
But really what they're doing is staying. They're listening, they're trying to understand, they're trying to get a lay of the land. And usually they're in service of building relationships with these new people, understanding the context, understanding what's going on in a particular organization or team. So that's just one example we want to leave you.
Love that example. And we're continuing every day to be in relationship with these two energies, these two acting and staying, no matter what context we're in. And we want to invite you this week, whenever you hear this, whatever you may be doing, where are you acting and where are you staying? We assert and assume that you have a purpose of what you're up to in the world, a meeting, a relationship. So holding that to be true, be curious. Where am I acting like, and where am I more,
That's all for today.
Be well.
Next time. Be well.